Alrighty, the new EU line. Oh, the irony, because I'm English. Anyway, the Lago and the 10TP are the tanks I'm going to do today. The Lago, meaning a large area of water, that's the educational bit, boys and girls. And the catchy name 10TP. So the first game up will be the 10TP, which is the Tier 2 Polish tank. I played the whole line up to the Tier 5 so far. And I have to say, so far, I actually think, strange to say, at Tier 2, this tank is probably the best of the bunch. Why do I say it? Well, strangely for a Tier 2 tank in the modern world, it's got armour. It actually has pretty damn good armour, actually, and an armour profile that you can work with and actually get bounces off. If you look at this tier, since it was dumbed down post 5.5, there's nothing with armour. So immediately you got a bit of an advantage just by the fact that you can take a shot. And as you can see, the cruiser's got no pen on me there. The armour profile is actually really good, and if you flick the front of the tank around, you get a fair amount of bounces. The gun, pretty damn accurate for a Tier 2 tank. Its pen is no problem at all, but then of course there's no pen problems because nothing's got any armour at Tier 2 anymore, he said. Haha. But basically overall it's a sort of peek and boom tank, and that's kind of how I'm going to play it in this corner. So what I mean by peek and boom is just you poke it out, fire a shot, pull back in. And it's got a number of advantages with this tank. First off, it can take a shot, so even if you sort of miss time coming out and you take one, I sort of say 7 times out of 10 you'll get a bounce out of it. It's kind of very forgiving. You see the PZ2 in a bit who's going to spam APCR at me, and that will go in. But fair enough, the lads fire in bucket loads of Pramo in a Tier 1 tank at me. Fair enough, that's his choice. But broadly speaking, the arm profile is really good. I think the play style is peek and boom, like I said. Now, that's not to say that you can't push in it, because it will also do that. And if you look, when I want to move, it moves across the battlefield really nicely. It's a nicely mobile tank. You can see that's the Pramo coming in, by the way. It's a nicely mobile tank. It will get there. I've played other games where I've rammed in it. It rams quite nicely. It's obviously pointless to ram another 10 TP, right? I mean, there's no point in that. But it will ram tanks quite nicely. It'll move around. It's actually a very strong and nice tank. And I've played this. I think I've put a good 25 games into it, and I thoroughly enjoyed this tank. And I know it's not Tier X tank, boys and girls, but you can still have fun in Tier 2 tanks. They're a great laugh. And as you can see, the PZ's going to get his comeuppance. Done. So there you go. Just over 1k damage, which isn't too bad for a Tier 2 tank. So you can see you can get the damage out of it. It's got decent damage per minute. It's got decent armour. It's mobile. It gets the job done. And I think overall, if you look at the competition it's got, at Tier 2, it's probably the strongest tank in that tier after the PZ35T. One man's opinion, by the way, that last bit. Alright, so up to the Lago, the area of water or lake. Swedish tank, Tier 4. Now, a number of caveats about this before I start. I am playing in an event. It has been, it's not an event, it's released for new tank line, but it might as well be an event. It has been absolutely crazy at Tier 4, absolutely crazy. So it's hard to work out how good or bad a tank is in normal gameplay, because the gameplay at Tier 4 has not been normal. And while I said all by myself at the beginning of this video was that it's the first game at Tier 4, well, there's some Tier 5 in this game as well, as you can see with buttons here. It's the first game at Tier 4 where there hasn't been like 7 of these on 7 of these, and that's because I'm playing with my mate with the Marvel, and the Marvel always gets up tiered, that's his matchmaker, so I'm going to see Tier 5 and less Lagos. But literally I've played games where it's 7 of these on 7 of these, and it's hard to tell how good the tank is because there's nothing to differentiate it against. Like, how do you benchmark something when all the other tanks on the battlefield are just the same? So this game is useful, and I've seen a lot of things going on in chat about the tank. I've got to say, most things people were typing were like really negative. And I was looking at it going, I mean, at one point I think I was on 0% win rate after 5 games. It was just bonkers as people were YOLOing and going around the map. So I've corrected that, don't get me wrong. But, you know, 5 games in a tank in an event doesn't make it a crap tank. That's my whole point. You need perspective on the tank. Tank is not crap at all. There's nothing wrong with this tank. If you've got poor win rate in it, you're playing it in an event or a release of a new territory line, or you're doing it wrong. There's nothing wrong with the tank. So, the bad things about the tank: no armour. Not really. Everything goes into the tank. If you get hit, the crew die a lot. It's got rifle fin armour. You get a fair amount of engine fires, and you should really don't do what I'm doing here. You should pack 2 repair kits. Forget about the speed boost, because it goes technical a lot. The engine is always getting shot out of it. So I guess the moral of the story is don't get shot, because it doesn't take well to be shot. You won't get bounces. All of that's kind of bad, but the good thing is the gun is lovely. I'm playing the top gun here. It's a tier 4 gun. It reloads really nicely. It can put down decent DPM. I'm going to change up here to heat, but overall, especially at playing tier 4 tanks, the pen is absolutely fine. You don't need to be spanking Pramo in the tank at all. The gun's pretty accurate, dispersion's good, and it whacks stuff. It makes dirty great holes in stuff. It also has a reasonable amount of gun depression, so for me that the tank is kind of mobile enough to move you around, but frankly it's all about the gun. Put the gun in a place, in a position whereby it can sing, and it will do the business for you. Don't YOLO the tank and then complain that the tank's crap and it catches on fire and everything penetrates it. It's not that sort of tank. So I know this is a tier 5 game, but the way I'm playing it is the way it should be played when everything normalises again, which is it's a second line tank. Yeah, it's not a go front line. It's a heavy kind of tank. It's not a TD either. It's second line medium kind of tank. I think that should be the play style with the vehicle. And at that level, I mean, I'm lucky that KV1, I don't think it was AFK, I don't know what, but at that level it works just fine. You can see the damage is pretty damn reasonable. I mean, the reason I showed this game is because I was playing it calm. I think that's the way it should be played, and you can see you just apples with it. You got to aim, but I mean, look, that's the front of a B1. That's fine. You'll see me bounce him because he moves his armour profile at the front just to shoot. There you go, auto bounce. I'll pull round him, and I think the Fuzz Kid finishes him off. There you go, tier 5 game. You wouldn't say a tank was out of its depth. I think it's a good little tank, and I might be in a minority of one, but I think it's absolutely fine. When the game normalises and everything levels out, this will be not an OP tank, but a tank that you can get by in and do your stuff in. I wouldn't have said it's necessarily a keeper, but there's nothing wrong with it. Next up, the Strav, and I'll go back and do the tier 1. Anyway, hope you enjoyed some lower tier tank reviews, unique though they are. There it is. Thank you very much. Bye.